What is up, everybody? Homer Plays. So, this is kind of a new video idea for me. I haven't really done these, but I've watched a lot of them. Shout out to Puff and Forrest, all those guys that do these videos, show them here, here, here. With all that being said and respects being paid, this is officially the story of Doodot. Now, Doodot is my bard character. I love him very dearly, and I will use him sometimes in different campaigns. Of course, his name isn't just Doodot. Every time I want to change him up a little bit, he grabs a new name. So he is officially Doodot the Destroyer, Doodot the Love Doctor, and just Doodot himself. Now, he gets into a lot of trouble really quick. He doesn't like to play the game normally. Instead, I like to play this character in a way that gets him to go around violence and try and take on scenarios without using hurt, but rather using smarty smart. Except my character's not all that smart. So we can kind of see how he does that here. And this session was, I think, a year ago. I was playing a bard, and I had an NPC friend whose name somehow forgets me, so we're just going to call him Paul. Hey, Paul. So, I was a bard, obviously, and I was wielding my great weapon, the Sax Axe. Now, of course, some of you may know, bards cannot wield great weapons. So I had a Sax Axe, but I could not use it as an axe, or really a weapon in any way. I could just kind of carry it around, but I couldn't do much with it. I could play it, but I couldn't swing with it, so it was really a useless weapon. And honestly, getting that weapon, achieving that weapon, was one of my goals in the session, or in the whole game, really. And then I got it and didn't even think about the fact that I couldn't wield it. Anyway, I had a sax axe, and my friend, he had a trumpet in the middle of buttfuck ages, farmer paradise, lords, kings, and queens. So a trumpet and a saxophone way back then, to me at least, is a really weird idea. He held a rapier, so he could actually do things, and all I had really on me was my magic. Throughout the session, I had never done damage. I actually, up until this point, had refused to deal damage to people. I had only ever attacked once, and on the attack, I missed. So I don't consider myself a big damage dealer in this session, at least, but I was the fun guy playing a bard. Obviously I was the very fun, charismatic character who everybody could look up to and dream to be. And my brother Paul, why, we taught everybody we knew the lessons that we had. So that being said, this story takes place outside of a witch's manor. It was pretty deep into the campaign, at least for me. I had missed a lot of the sessions in between, though. The very first session I had ever played for this game, aka Session 1, I I had met a fellow character who, in real life, I had never met before. We were playing through a Discord server, but in the real world, I had never met this man before. And so in DnD, I also had not met him. He was playing a centaur, and my character, while walking with him, came up with the idea to write a song about him entitled Horsecock. Yeah, I I think I've grown up, but I'm not sure, because that's still kind of funny to me. I'm definitely not going to read the song out, but I busted it out in like 5 minutes, and it's actually a decent song, just not one for here. That being said, I missed the next session. I came to the one after that, where we had kind of started into the dungeon. So the second session I went to was the third session. We had entered into a dungeon, my character and my NPC, as well as two of the other player characters. It was really a small session, so we weren't going to get to the boss fight, but we were going to try and get as far as we could to the door. Inside this dungeon, we had ended up taking out, I think, 4 or 5 guards in the middle of this long hallway. Losing some of our own men, actually. We had NPCs with us, town guard. Really weird to see them around. But it's very important to know that I actually picked up, as a joke, I searched the body, and I wondered, can I find anything from him? Because he was just kind of a throwaway NPC. And so the DM was like, yeah, you find weed. I was like, all right. And not that outlandish. So I took it, and I wrote down in my notes specifically 1 weed, just to make sure I had it. That being said, it leads us to our next point, which goodness, this was my favorite thing in almost any D&D game I think I've ever played. We were at a witch's farm. At this witch's farm, we were having reports that giants were coming around, stealing trees for some reason, and they were terrorizing the local town folk. And we didn't know she was a witch. We thought she was just a normal woman. So just erase her witch hat for a little bit. Yep, there, normal woman. So we walk up to her house, trying to find answers, and we're like, "Yo, what's going on?" And as we're walking, we see some trees. I think we counted a total of 14 trees when we first stepped on the property, and there were 7 of us in the party. I think. We got, counting my NPC, we got to the door where the lady, excuse me, had come out, and she was like, "Hey guys, what the hell's going on? Why are you on my property?" And my charismatic character was like, "Well, my God, what a nice piece of ass." I've grown up. She was not intrigued. She hated us. Is there anybody else I can talk to? So while she was doing that, I decided it'd be a good idea to go look at her trees. And as I was doing that, I rolled a perception and saw that there was, instead of only 14 trees, there were now 16 trees. And I had no idea why. That made no sense to me at all. And it still doesn't. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what the answer was. But I walk over to a tree. I'm like, all right, well, I slash into it with a dagger. And she winces in pain, but I don't see her wince in pain. Everybody else sees her wince in pain, but they don't see me stab a tree. So it's a really screwed up situation where none of us have any idea what's going on or why she did that, and I saw no reaction. So eventually I turned back around. I'm like, all right, well, something's sus here. There's no way that there's more trees than when we came in. My character's too smart to think that. So I'm going to get inside her house. So my NPC and I, we're going to go inside her house. She blocks the stairway, which is like 4 or 5 steps up to the patio. But she blocks the stairway with her whole body. She's like, "No, you cannot go up here." So I, for the next 10 minutes, take over the session on my own between myself and the DM, and it was super sad for everybody else. They didn't get to play, but they got to watch this monstrosity happen. I decided to have my NPC hit me in the face and then run past her onto the deck, jumping past her strength check to make sure that he was behind her, putting her off guard and giving me an excuse to get up on the deck with him. So I also rush past her, and I begin to play fight with my buddy. And we do actually hit each other, just to make it look as real as possible, but we start play fighting with each other, making it look like we really, really hate each other. He ends up pulling his rapier, and he pushes me up through a few moves, pushes me up against the wall, and I orchestrated all of this. It just kind of happened. And so I was up against her door, and then my NPC was nods at me. He's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yep," because the plan I'd gone over with him was that he would get me onto the door, and then he would run and jump kick into my chest, knocking the door and me into the house. He rolled and did it. So next thing you know, I was in the house, plain as day, and my NPC friend was like, "Yo, what the hell?" And he also ran inside. From inside, she was like, "What is going on? What is happening to me?" And the rest of the party was trying to calm her down, like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry for them." So then once I get inside, I'm like, "All right, here's the plan. Smash everything. I'm going to break everything in this house." So my NPC and I start just throwing vases, ripping pictures off the wall, just smashing into the windows. And she can hear all of this going on outside, but if she wants to give up the fact that she's a witch, she would have to use her powers, and everybody was watching her. So she couldn't really do anything. And then our big Goliath friend walks over to her and he pats her on the back. He's like, "I'm so sorry." And she actually casts a spell on him and starts controlling his character. This giant, I think he was like a 7-8 man, walks up onto the deck, somehow doesn't break it, smashes his hand through the wall, grabs my character, and pulls me like the Kool-Aid Man, only in reverse, backwards, past through the wall and into the trees. And I thought that this was the funniest thing ever. So the whole party died laughing for a little while after that. My NPC just stood inside like, "All right, I'm gonna step out. Please don't hurt me." After that, the big man stopped being controlled. He really only got that one action. He's like, "Yo, what the heck? She's a witch." And so but nobody saw her put the spell on him, so they just thought it was him being him. After that, I was like, all right, yo, something's definitely wrong with her. Screw her. I'm going to try do what I can to take her down. So myself and a chaotic neutral in the party, we both go to the back of her farm, and now that we're walking back there, we can see 17 trees instead of only 16, or instead of only 14. And so we go to the back row of trees. You know, they're not too thick. And we put down some moss, some flammable moss that the other party member had. And I use light to flick it on fire. And the tree starts burning. And as it starts burning, she starts screaming. And because she's screaming, our paladin's like, "Yo, yo, yo. No, no, no. That's not good." So he Eldritch blasts the fire actually out of commission. Hits the tree as well, but he puts it out. And we were super angry about him, so we went to the other side of the tree and did it again. Only this time it refused to light, and we had ended up using all of our kindling. But we had tried very hard to light it on fire again. After that, we thanked her for allowing us to break her house. I didn't thank her. I had moved on, actually. Myself and the Chaotic Neutral, we left with my NPC. The rest of the party were like, I'm so sorry. We're going to go follow him, make sure he doesn't break anything. Good luck to you, ma'am. So, you might think, how could this story get possibly any crazier? How could this character be any stupider? And you wouldn't know it if I didn't tell you.
Duh.
I think I skipped another 2 or 3 sessions after that. We had somehow joined a guild in the middle of that. And then when I had come back, we were in the middle of a kingdom, a super big magic kingdom, which I had paid to get into. Everybody had to pay to get into. I tried to scam him out of his money. He ended up scamming me out of my money. I was not happy for the rest of that session because of that. We got in and we decided, I think we were going after some cultists, some normal D&D stuff. Go after cultists, because that's what we do. We kill people. I was a true chaotic neutral, so I didn't really care. I did whatever they wanted me to do, and I did whatever I wanted to do, which was get
an education.
So we ended up getting to the tavern. Right outside, I looked in, and I could see that there were the whole party could see, there were 2 tables full of enemies. Some of them were posted up against the south wall, and then others were posted up along the bar. So myself and the other chaotic neutral were like, I've got an idea. Let's go in. I'm going to start a bar fight with you, and then we'll just kill them from there. So I walk in, I order a drink, he orders a drink, and he orders the most red wine, the most staining wine they have on purpose. We had gone over it. He ordered the most staining wine, and then he went to stand in the corner. Now, it wasn't part of my plan that he goes to stand in the corner, because I wanted to do it right there up in front of the bar with the rest of them. So I was kind of like, all right, well, I'm off my game. And then the rest of the party walked in, and everybody started looking suspicious. So instead of going over to continue my already devised plan with the other guy, my character decided it would be a good idea instead to get on top of the table, one of the tables, which had a giant dragonborn as the obvious captain of the group, as well as 3 others around it. And then I would start dancing, and I used flashing lights. I said them both, so now no matter what, I can't be wrong. I used that and turned the whole place into a party. I started singing, I started playing my saxophone, and everybody there just looked really uncomfortable. And as that was happening, the guy who had bought wine and went to the corner, he actually started getting harassed by the other dudes and ended up getting into a fight with them. So I was really far away. I couldn't help. My NPC, I don't even know where he was at this point. I'm pretty sure he was just drinking at the bar for his own good. And the rest of the party were slowly filing into the room. So I do the only thing any sane bard would do. And I caress the Dragonborn's lips, use sleight of hand to flick the one weed, that's right, the one weed out from up inside my sleeve, put it into his mouth, and then I pull back, I do a quick spin, I come in, I give him a kiss on the nose, and I use Spark, cantrip Spark, to light the weed for him. And at first he seems really, really taken aback, and everybody at the table has no idea what's going on. And so he stands up, and he's a super tall dude compared to me, even though I'm on top of a table. He still reaches up to probably my chest. And he pulls out the giant great axe that he has. Unlike my great axe, he can use his. And he swings it into my gut and kills my character. That's right, I think he did like 30 points of damage, and my character did not have 30 points of health. So he got me right in the gut. I fell limp over his axe, fell down. Our chaotic neutral in the corner started getting super attacked. He actually went down, and the rest of the party refused to come in to help because as they were filing in, they saw that we were just way outnumbered, and 2 of us were already down, so they just left. And that's the end of my story in that campaign. I wish I had more to tell you about Dudot, which I just realized I had said his name for the first time at the very end. But God, he was a man. He was a man that I sincerely miss, and I hope to make more characters like him. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for coming out to the show, and I'll see you next time. And that was just kind of the end of Dot for that campaign. I do have tons more stories about him if you do want to hear about him. I am more than happy to make more videos like this. I think I really enjoy this concept, and I want to expand this channel into the D&D section of not only YouTube but of life. I want to play more of that as well as continue my gameplay videos. So if that's something you're into, then leave a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.